Welcome back. It's a tale about the end of boyhood and the burning away of innocence while the country is set alight. That's how Ashraf Kagee's coming novel is described by one well-known writer and broadcaster. Kagee has written a new novel about three friends in 1960, the year, of course, significant. It was the year of the Sharpeville massacre. The book is entitled By the Fading Light, and the book, I understand, tells of a discovery that changes the boys' lives, three little boys' lives, in the Cape Town suburb of Salt River. It's going to be released next month, I understand. Ashraf, morning to you, and thanks for your time. Congratulations, first of all, on the book. I'm taking a look at it now. You're getting some wonderful critical acclaim, bringing together historical fiction, literary realism, and I like this, absurdist humor. It's quite a journey you're taking us on. Tell me about the book.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. Well, I wanted to tell a story about childhood and the loss of innocence and coming of age. And I think the period of boyhood just before adolescence sets in is an interesting time, and I wanted to capture a sense of that developmental moment. I kind of also wanted to comment on how children are often at the whim of adults who, for various reasons, both conscious and unconscious, don't necessarily have their best interests at heart. And the adults in this story are kind of consumed with their own pain and grief, so they don't really attend to the emotional needs of these young boys.
And taking a look at just some of the characterizations, you're talking about these children, these young boys, and the families that they're growing up with, and it seems very dysfunctional. They're not necessarily abusive, but there's certainly pressures, emotional pressures from the parents, the grandmothers, broken homes, broken families, still trying to do their best. But speak to me about why that era. It's a journey of boyhood, yes, but why the 1960? Why 1960 in particular, Ashraf?
So this time period, I think your comments are exactly right. There's a particular time period, the early 1960s, and the story takes place in the aftermath of Sharpeville in the year 1960, pretty much 61 years ago today, actually. The early 1960s was just before the onset of the civil rights movement in the U.S. and the Vietnam War and the Beatles and the hippie movement and other cultural shifts that took place in the 60s. And the events at Sharpeville feature prominently. I think it, in some sense, also represents a loss of innocence for South Africa. The armed struggle against apartheid began, and Nelson Mandela would soon after go to prison. So even though, I do refer to these political events and try to kind of draw a parallel between the loss of political innocence and the loss of innocence of these young boys, this is essentially a human story. It's a story about growing up. It's a story about coming of age, what might be called a Bildungsroman.
So speak to me about when this book is going to be coming out. I'll tell you why. It's not just by fault that just a short while ago we were commemorating the Sharpeville massacre. Was that just a happy coincidence, or was that planned? Final question to you, Ashraf.
It was a coincidence, certainly not happy, because people lost their lives. But of course, it is kind of a timely release of the book. Everything has been delayed because of COVID. It was supposed to have come out a year ago or even more than that. But just because of the trajectory of events, things seem to come to a head, and the book is being released in early April. There is a release to early adopters, which is starting in this coming week. Next week, but it'll be in bookshelves in early April.
I appreciate your time, and I'm so looking forward to this. I see it's got a very, very, very nice write-up on Jacana Media on their website at the moment. I'm just going to, as I say goodbye to you, I'm going to read off the front cover, Ashraf, if you don't mind. I'm going to quote an exquisite tale about the end of boyhood and the burning away of innocence while a country is set alight. That frames very nicely what this book is about. Ashraf Kagee, congratulations to you. Looking forward to the book, I'm sure, as are many other bookworms, coming out in mid-April, according to the website, By the Fading Light by Ashraf Kagee.